Hello students, very good morning. In this video, we will discuss about the parts of skeleton. Parts of skeleton. Skeleton means what? Already you know very well. That's a hardest bone. Skeleton means what? That's a bone. The skeletal system only provide that structure and function. Which is system that providing structure and function, and then shape means the responsibility of the skeleton. That skeleton, the present in parts. What are the parts? That means the divisions. What are the divisions of the skeletal system that present in our body? That basically they classified in two types. What are the axial skeleton and appendicular skeleton? First one what? Axial skeleton, and second one appendicular skeleton. This axial skeleton is under classified in three divisions. What are the skull? Skull means you know that's a top part of our body. Our body in top part. This is the skull. I will explain about them one by one in later on. First you understood these classifications. See the skull, the protect the brain. Because of the brain where it present, the present in inside of skull. The present protective layer. Where present the brain means that's a top of the part of the skeletal, that's a skull, the skull inside present in brain. And then rib and sternum. The ribs already before that I explained the presence of the chest bone. The front of the chest, the present in 12 pair of the bone. But the only one pair bone is not connected. It's not connected with the sternum. That's the reason they're mentioning rib and sternum. The sternum means they're connected in a particular point. So the total pair of the bone that present in our body in front of the chest, you can easily count it. Or how many bones they are present. When you count it, that means then maybe the marasmus disease affected person you can count it that. See, the rib is the only one pair is not connected to the sternum. That's called in floating rib. Floating rib. See, and the vertebral column. Vertebral column means what? That's a backbone. Your chest to the back side, the presence of the S-shaped bone. That's a vertebral column. This protect the spinal cord. This protect in spinal cord. This rib and sternum protect the heart and lungs and liver. So the where present the heart and lungs and liver means that our body inside the chest, inside the present. So the inner organs, the protest in one layer, that's a rib bone. So the axial skeleton are under classified in the three types. What are the first one? Skull, second one rib and sternum, third one vertebral column. What is the main function of the skull? The protect brain, and then rib and sternum protect the heart and lungs and liver. The vertebral column protect the spinal cord. Under the appendicular skeleton. Appendicular skeletons are classified under two types. What are that? The pectoral grid. Pectoral grid. That's an attachment of the arms. The attachment of the arms. This is the shoulder is the connected them leg. That's all. And the upper limb. Upper limb. That's a arms. This is the upper limb. And the see the pelvic grid. Pelvic grid means that's a hip region. Hip region, the presence of the bone will connected to the thigh bone. That is, we are mentioning the pelvic grid, attachment of the leg. That means this leg is the attachment in here, the hip region. That is the pelvic grid, and the lower limb legs. So the lower limb means that's a leg, upper limbs means that's a hand, that's a shoulder. So this is the classification of the parts of skeleton. In case they are asking what are the parts of the skeleton that present in our body, means just you have to write this flowchart. This flowchart only what to write. And then now I will explain about one by one in briefly. See the parts of skeleton. The skeletal system is composed of bone and the related structure that had by movement. The bone and related the structure. So you know that the skull means the bone. This is the bone. That's the structure. Want to need that. So the skeletal system, they are considered in the bone are the same. They are composed in the structure of bones and the related structure that have body movement. It is divided into two major parts. What are that? That's a axial skeleton and then appendicular skeleton. The first one, axial skeleton. This axial skeleton consists of the bone along the axis. Along the axis. This is the top of the position or the top of the body. Or central line of the human body. Along the axis and central line, because of the mention in pelvic. And see, the axial skeleton consists of the skull, facial bone, sternum, rib and vertebral column. So what are the bones? What are the structures will composed in axial skeleton? The axial skeletons are considered in skull, rib and sternum and vertebral column. And first one, skull. Skull. See, the skull is a hard structure. This is a hard. At the same time, they are made up of the small bone. The hard and made up of small bone. Very small bone is not having a largest bone. And it's formed by 22 bones. The skull formed in 22 bones, but the inside front of the face is composed in 8 bones. How many bones are present in? 8 bones. Bones out of which 8 bones are fixed together to form a cerennium and 14 bones fixed to formation of face. So this is 22 you divided in or you classify and write 8 and plus 14. This 14 is the responsibility of the face. So the how many bones are present in our face, anyone asking means just you have to write the 14. And the remaining this 8 bone where present means that the take place in cranium. That's a cranium. And the only bone which have movable, only bones which have movable joint in the lower jaws. See the skull, the present in non-movable bones, but the presence of the lower jaws. The jaws are present in upper and lower jaws. Upper jaws is not moving. The lower jaws only the having in movable. So the adjustable. And the movable joint in the jaw, lower jaw. This movable joint is supported by muscles and ligament. The movable jaws are supported by the muscles and ligament. Where present the ligament? Ligament the present in between of the two bones is connected. This is the lower jaws means maybe here want to connect. So when or which place they connected the bone, there will be present in ligament. Without ligament is not possible. The bones join together or will involve in the particular process. At the same time, we will support in muscles also. And the skull placed on the top of the backbone. Where present this is placed where top of the bone, the top of the backbone. Where present that's top of the backbone. That means what? Vertebral. The backbone. That's the top of the portion that present in skull. Can be moved up, down and sidewise. Move up and down sideways. That means like that. Up and down and side like that. It's not rotating in the entire part. And the next one, vertebral column. See the vertebral column running at the back of the body. It is also called as spine of the backbone. Spine of the backbone means already you know this is the brain structure. Just imagine the present in the brain structure. Here the presence of the bottom of the brain. Here present the medulla oblongata. Actually the spinal cord means that's the external part of the medulla oblongata. Medulla oblongata extending part is called in spinal cord. And then here see now here present in this is a medulla oblongata, and then here present in the spinal cord, and then this is the vertebrae of backbone. Here having the connectivity. And then vertebral column is made up of individual bone called as vertebrate. This is the individual bone. This is the present in S shape. And see the total vertebral column consists in 7 cervical vertebrae. What are that? Where present in cervical means that's a neck in back side. This is the back side. this neck backside the present in 7 cervical bones. So how many bones will compose the vertebral column means the present in 3 major parts. What are the cervical? Cervical present in 7 cervical, and the 12 lumbar vertebrae. 12 lumbar. How many bones are present in 12 lumbar? And the next they are present in 5 fused sacral. 5 fused in sacral, and then that means the S. And last 3 fused in coccygeal vertebrae. That's a coccygeal vertebrae. So the 5 and 3. Now you count it. So how many bones are present in? Say that 7 plus 5, 7 plus 2, 9, 9 plus 5, 14, 14 plus 3, 17, 7, remaining 1 and 27. See, they are present in the spinal cord processes through this hollow tube. That's a hollow tube. You know that bone in between they are having a hollow. That gap that filled in the spinal cord. Here they are present. This is the backbone. Just imagine. This backbone means inside the present and hollow gap. This is the spinal cord. That is the spinal cord. And the vertebrae are joined by gliding point, which allow the body to the bend back, front and sideways. See, which allow the body to the bend back and front of the sideways. That means the gliding point. So the vertebrae were joined. The joining point here will join. That's the reason you are rotating like that. So here will be joined. That's the reason you are doing like that. In between is not connected, that vertebrae. That's the reason you are not folding that bone. So wherever the joining of the bone, that place only you fold that. You can easily hold it. And see, the main function of the vertebral column are given. What are the main function? This is the main function. The first one, it protect the spinal cord. It vertebral column protect in spinal cord. Why? Because of the vertebral column inside the present in the spinal cord. That's the reason they are mentioning will protect. And the next one, they support the head. Because of the head take place in the top of the vertebra. This is the vertebral column. The top of the place, the present in head. That means the skull. They are mentioning placed to top of the backbone. And it serves as the attachment for the rib. It serves an attachment of the rib. In case vertebral column, that means the backbone is not present, means is not possible. These ribs will connected in the particular point, that is the sternum. They are connected in all ribs except in 2 ribs. That means 1 pair. Remaining 10 ribs they are connected. So that particular point, the serve means with attachment of the backbone. And then it provides support and place of attachment for the pectoral and pelvic grid. Pectoral and pelvic means hip region. In case just to imagine the backbone is not present, means how were connected the pelvic cavity. This is the pelvic grid. That means hip bone. That hip bone want to connect the backbone. And then it helps in walking and standing erect with the correct posture. One person want to stand in erect position or want to sit in the erect position means with the help of the backbone. Without backbone is not possible. That person is sitting and standing or walking. It provides movement for the human skeleton. So the human skeleton want to involve that function means with the help of the backbone. Backbone is not having means is not possible. That persons will do in any activities. And the sternum or rib cage. This is the rib and sternum. Rib cage occupy the chest region. So the where present the rib cage present in chest region. That's the front of the body. And it is a cone shape. So it is a cone shape. And then the structure made up of the 12 pair. The structure made up of 12 pair of rib bones. So the how many pair of the rib bones are present in our body means just you have to mention that are present in 12 pair. At the same time this present in cone shape. And then the rib are attached to vertebrae at the back which is curved around to form a cage. That means just imagine this is the backbone. This is the backbone. Here want to connect. Every rib bones here want to connect it. So like that may be present. So that particular point, that's a cage. 10 pair of rib are attached to the breastbone at the front. 10 bones. That means the present in 12 bones. The 10 bones, the 12 pair of the bones, the 10 bones will attach. Where means that's the front of the chest. The 2 pair of lower ribs are free at front. 2 pair of the bones lower free from the attachment. That means here process of the 10 bones in like that, that's a rib bone. Maybe the present in like that means here presence of the 10 pair will attachment of the front of the bone, but the last one is not attached. That means one pair of the bone or one pair of the rib is not attached the sternum. That is called in floating rib. That is called floating rib. The rib cage is set up in such a way that it can contract and expand during the process of breathing. Why they are having that attachment means because of the expand during the process of breathing. Whenever you breathe, whether you are taking respiratory gases, inhale and exhale, that time they are having some movement, the diaphragm, and then chest, top and bottom will involve in some changes. What the changes or what the structure modification that present means the inhaling time and exhaling time you feel in easy. And the rib cage protect the underlying lungs, heart and some part of liver. The rib cage protects in heart and liver, lungs and some part of the livers. The structure that connect the appendage to the axial skeleton. Where this connected? Axial skeleton. And specifically the appendicular skeleton comprises the shoulder grid, the arms, breast and hand bone, the pelvic grid and leg angle and foot bones. So the what are the bones we are considering in appendicular? They are mentioned. Then first one, appendicular. The appendicular skeleton that consists the bone in the appendage of the body. Appendage of the body. That means what? Appendage of the body as well as the structure that connected the appendages to the skeletal system or skeletal axial skeleton. See, the axial skeleton that present in these are organs or these are bones that present. These bones were connected means they are connected from the axial skeleton. This axial skeleton and then appendicular skeleton are combined together will be make a skeleton. The two divisions. In the ரெண்டு division மே ஒன்னு சேர்ந்தா நமக்கு skeleton form பண்ணுது. In case இது இல்ல skeletal axial skeleton இல்ல only the present appendicular skeleton means that's not a skeleton. அதே skeleton உடைய function complete பண்ண முடியாது. That is not fulfilled their functions because of the each and every one are connected. ஒன்னே சார்ந்து இருக்கும். The first one shoulder bone or pectoral bone. Shoulder bone or pectoral bone. That means this is the chest cavity. Chest rib already discussing in the rib bone. That's a axial skeleton. And the remaining bones that are present in the shoulder. Shoulder irukkuradhu hams la irukkudiye upper limb la irukkudiye da நம்ம எதல பாப்போம் அப்படினா pectoral grid னு பாப்போம் அல்லது அது என்னன்னு சொன்னா shoulder bone னு சொல்லலாம். The shoulder bone is formed by collar bone at the front and the shoulder blade at the back. The front and shoulder blade at the back. அப்ப அந்த shoulder உடைய back side பாருங்க இதுதான் நம்ம என்ன சொல்லுவோம்னா shoulder bone அப்படினு சொல்லுவாங்க. And the one hand and the shoulder blade at the other end. The shoulder bone enclosed a socket-like cavity into which fits the ball of the upper arm. This form a ball and socket joint. This grid is also called in pectoral grid. That means the balls that present in upper ball-like structure. That means the presence of the shoulder, the top part that present in one ball-like. That means the cup-like structures that present. Here, presence of the forelimb will connect to the shoulder. This is called in pectoral grid. And then pelvic bone. Pelvic bone means you know that that's a hip region. See, the pelvic bones is also called as pelvic grid. The pelvic bone is also called in pelvic grid. It is made up of a strong bone to balance entire weight. This is a strong bone. Why? Because of the entire body weight want to maintain this. That's a balance. The entire weight of the body. Pelvic grid is formed by 5 fused vertebrae at the back and front. See, the pelvic regions will featured in the 5 bones, back and front. See the cavity in the center while reaching the front part, then thigh bone. The front part and the thigh bone. That means what? This bone that are connected in hip region. The bones are attached to either side to the grid with a ball and socket joint. So the ball and shoulder joint in what are the places or which are the places that present in our body means just you have to mention the shoulder and pelvic region, the two regions that take place in the ball like and shoulder joint. See the letters that today session quick revise in the movement in animals, the skeletal system, that means the parts of skeleton. What are the parts of the skeleton? The present means that basically you write the flow charting like this. What are the skeleton? The classified in two types. That's a axial skeleton and appendicular skeleton. Axial skeleton means the present in three types, further divided in three. What are the skull and rib and sternum, vertebral column. Vertebral column. The first one, skull, where present, that's the top of the vertebral column. That means the backbone, top of the backbone that takes place in skull. The skull, the entire the present in 22 bone. The 14 bones the present in front of the face and 8 bones the present in surrounding. And what is the main function means the protect the brain. Protect the brain. And the rib and sternum. Rib and sternum, the presence of the front of our body in chest or breastbone. The presence in 12 pair of the bone, 10 pair of the bone is connected in the particular point of the sternum, but one pair is not connected. That's a floating rib. Where what is the main function? Protect the heart, lungs and some part of the liver. And vertebral column, the protect the spinal cord. Why it is protect in spinal cord means because of the backbone the present in the hollow, in between the inside of the bone the present in the spinal cord. That spinal cord in protective functions that are involved in vertebral column. Here the present in some different bones will join together will make a S shape. What are the cervical 7 pairs and the lumbar 12 and the 7 12 5 3 the totally the present in 27. And appendicular skeleton, that's a pectoral grid and pelvic grid. Pectoral grid means attachment of the arms, that's a shoulder attachment. This is a ball and shoulder joint. And then upper limbs means that's a arms, shoulder. And the pelvic grid, attachment of the legs. Where attachment? This is the pelvic region. Hip region will attach that. And the lower limbs, that's a leg. So the without a skeletal system, that person is cannot possible will move and do in any activities. If you want to do the any activities with the help of the skeletal system, this skeletal system only will make a structure and function in our body. Not only this one, at the same time the joint together will make a function in muscles and ligament. Because the bone to bone want to join means with the help of the ligament only will join that, the control that activities. Without ligament is not join that bones. Okay, thank you.